Today we're discussing differences in training between training for aesthetics versus training for performance. I fully admit I used to be one of those self-righteous blowhards who used to kind of look down my nose at the people who are doing bicep curls and crunches, being like, oh, these people don't know what they should be doing. Of course, training for performance is the real true test of fitness. It's shallow and vanity to be training for aesthetic appeal. But of course, now I know that I was totally wrong in that, because the bottom line is it doesn't matter why you're doing your exercise or what your goals are. If you want to kick butt, great. If you want to just look good naked, that's also good. Whatever gets you moving and gets you exercising for your sake of your health and your fitness is going to be a step in the right direction. Just make sure that you're not sacrificing your health and your well-being in pursuit of those goals, because I've been on both ends of that spectrum, where I would do things like weighted dips and chest flies and stuff to the point where my shoulders were about to blow up. And I've also gone on the performance end as an athlete, where I was basically sacrificing my health and well-being just to perform at a higher level and try to win bike races. So don't let anybody ever yuck your yum. If all you care about is bigger biceps and shredded abs, go for it. If all you care about is heavier lifting and being able to get a PR on some Metcon, go for that as well. All right, enough of the philosophical stuff. Let's get to bare bones practical application. Basically, if you are more interested in training for aesthetic appeal, basically bodybuilding is the name of the game here. You want to make your muscles bigger, because as I addressed in my first book, Fitness Independence, the bodybuilding revolution was a huge stroke of marketing genius in our fitness culture. Because before that, everything was about performance and athleticism and stuff, which is good, but the fact of the matter is most people don't have any need for a really high level or even a modest level of physical prowess beyond general health and fitness. So why would anybody bother taking up exercise? So in that regard, you want to have a bodybuilding-esque approach. Don't be allergic to the single joint stuff. You want bigger biceps? Do bicep curls of any variation you like. Free weights, suspension straps, bands, it doesn't really matter the tool, but we're trying to effectively cook the muscle in an effort to stimulate hypertrophy. So you want progressive muscle tension and time under tension for the muscles that you're trying to work. Also in that line, a lot of times when it comes to aesthetics, people are asking me a lot of questions like, okay, so I've got this one area like the upper chest or the lateral deltoid, or this one area that I want to make a little bit bigger. How do I go about doing that, particularly with calisthenics training? And yeah, you can use some exercises, kind of dial in a little bit of tension here and there. But the bottom line is, if you want one area of a muscle bigger, you need the entire muscle to be a lot bigger. So if you're like, my upper chest or my inner chest isn't developing the way I want, that's because the chest as a whole is still way too small. You want to have everything develop a lot more. So using the basic fundamental movement patterns and some single joint stuff like chest flies, shoulder specific work, get it really strong, go heavy, and really push the muscles to a high degree of fatigue, as if you're trying to basically be a bodybuilder. And lastly, for the aesthetic thing, make sure you're just getting everything kind of in a balanced way. It's very common for people to like, okay, I'm focusing a lot on the biceps or a lot on one area of the body, but neglecting other areas, particularly like the backside. But not only is this a mistake from a health and functional standpoint, but it's also a mistake from the aesthetic standpoint. Because we typically think that, okay, aesthetics, here we go after the mirror muscles, the abs, the chest, the biceps and stuff. But a lot of our aesthetic appeal comes from the other muscles in the body that command our stronger posture, that people see behind our backs, or even the stuff that just kind of connotates a lot of strength, like the traps, your glutes, hamstrings, and so on. Now, when it comes to performance, we want to make sure that we're going after something that is specific for the type of performance you want, because you can get lost real quickly into an endless sea of performance or functional training. And this is where it can get, again, very superficial and superfluous, because I guarantee you, nobody's athleticism is going to be improved by being able to do burpees over a barbell. Just because something has the label of being functional or performance-based doesn't mean it necessarily is. So what movement patterns do you want to improve your proficiency at? What type of proficiency do you want to improve? So for example, squats. Do you want to have stronger squats? Do you want to have more stable squats? Do you want to have more squat endurance? Do you want to have more squat mobility? What specific functional characteristics do you want to improve? And that's not to say that you have to make this very choice decision over should I train for aesthetics versus training for performance. Because when we place an emphasis on bodybuilding stuff, that's still very functional. I've had cases where I've done single joint exercise and had a ton of strength carryover into my cycling and my martial arts and stuff. At the same time, I've also had performance things that I've improved upon, and it's like, oh, now my shoulders are looking better and stuff. So there's a lot of crossover between these two things. All we're doing is creating a little bit of an emphasis, where if you want to look better naked, make sure you're effectively trying to build up and train the muscles for an aesthetic appeal, and of course keeping body fat in check. And when it comes to functionality and performance, going after the performance to improve the physical proficiency that is important for you in the applications you intend. So a little bit of Philosophy Friday there for you. Let me know if you have questions, further videos here. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.